Today's cover, Trump administration refers New York Attorney General Letitia James for potential prosecution over alleged mortgage fraud, guys. And this is fucking crazy. And for those of you that don't know who she is the Attorney General for the state of New York, okay? Letitia Ann James, born October 18, 1958, is an American lawyer and politician serving since 2019 as the 67th Attorney General for New York State, NYAG. Having won the 2018 election to succeed Barbara Underwood, a member of the Democratic Party, James is the first African-American and first woman to be elected New York Attorney General. So, now I know you guys are probably wondering, well, hold on, wait 1 second, Myron. What's going on here? So this woman, guys, was one of the main people that was behind the prosecution of Donald Trump a couple of years back for the falsifying business records, okay? Her, alongside this guy, Alvin Bragg, put a face to name for you guys, also a lawyer, American politician and lawyer who serves the New York City County District Attorney covering Manhattan, okay? So the Attorney General, I've described their duties for you guys before, but the Attorney General's job, guys, basically is think of her as she is the Pam Bondi for the state of New York. So Pam Bondi is the Attorney General. She oversees all the law enforcement agencies under the Department of Justice, to include the prosecutor's office, right? In the state of New York, similar structure, she oversees all the law enforcement for the state of New York, okay, and prosecutorial offices. So she basically is Alvin Bragg's boss, okay? And Alvin Bragg, is the main New York County District Attorney. He runs the office out of Manhattan, okay? This is through the state system, of course, not the federal system, all right? Now, the reason why this is important is because Alvin Bragg and Letitia James led the charge to going after Donald Trump for falsifying business records, as you guys know, with the Stormy Daniels case. Basically, long story short, Trump had some type of situation with Stormy Daniels. This woman right here, okay, this woman who is a porn star, right? She basically hooked up with Trump sometime in like 2006 or something like that, and Trump paid her off. But the way he paid her off, allegedly, was illegal and falsifying business records, because they made it seem as though them paying her off was, during the course of everyday business. Basically his guy, Cohen, where is he? So basically, okay, so an alleged one-night sexual encounter took place in 2006 between businessman and later U.S. President Donald Trump and pornographic film actress Stormy Daniels, followed by a conspiracy on the part of Trump to cover up the story in the month prior to the 2016 U.S. Presidential election, and Trump's falsification of business records as part of the conspiracy. The story broke in 2018 when the Wall Street Journal reported that Trump's former attorney Michael Cohen paid $130,000 to Daniels as hush money to buy her silence during the 2016 Trump campaign. And so to make this clear also, Cohen basically fronted the money himself. He took out like a home equity line of credit or something. He paid her off, and then he billed Trump for it as legal expenses, okay? And the reason why Trump did this, paid this off, was because back in 2016 when Trump was running for president, if you guys remember, the scandal with the grab her by the pussy thing broke. Now, when that story broke, obviously, it impacted Trump's ability significantly to be taken seriously. It really hurt his campaign. So he needed to ensure that any other ugly things that would rear their heads to mess up his campaign would be handled. So he basically got his lawyer / aide, Cohen at the time, to pay off Stormy Daniels so this wouldn't come back and blow up in his face, which ended up coming back later after he was president, right? And Trump, I think, got someone else that he was friends with out of the National Enquirer to pull the story. Right now, when you're a famous individual with a lot of money, you have guys like this. This is called like professional fixers, right? Where you want to run for some type of public office, you want to maintain a certain image or whatever. You deal with these people where they dead stories before they get out, right? That can hurt your image. This is just something that the rich and wealthy have, right? As a matter of fact, Kanye West had one of these guys for a while, and the loser actually posted a video after Kanye said the things he said about, them boys. He put out like an image of Kanye, like like high on some drugs while he was like during a video where he hooked up with some chick in Vegas like 10 years ago. And he said, look, remember when you paid me to get rid of the story, blah, blah, blah. So the point I'm trying to make is high-level security, high-level celebrities typically have fixer people that they pay to get rid of shit like this, right? And make sure it never hits the media. It's a very common tactic with the big celebrities. So this scandal, okay, this scandal between Trump hooking up with Stormy Daniels and the payoff led, because he paid her through his business, the Trump, business. This led to the state of New York pursuing a criminal investigation against Donald Trump, which ended up getting him indicted later on. And this led to a historic event. It was the first time that a president or a former president of the United States was charged with a crime in American history. Okay? So obviously, Letitia James and Alvin Bragg, being the first ones to bring these charges against Donald Trump, set history. Okay? Because I told you guys this before when he originally got charged, that this was a political witch hunt and people were trying to make their names off of going after Donald Trump. Because this falsifying business records investigation or charge that they used is typically a misdemeanor. But what they did was they upped it to a felony, which is very rare and pretty much unprecedented. But again, like I said before, they wanted to get to the table first and charge him. Because after he was charged by the state of New York for this falsifying business records case, the feds followed up and did a search warrant at his house in Mar-a-Lago. Okay? And they ended up going after him for the document case. Then Georgia followed up and charged him for the RICO. Then Washington, D.C. followed up and charged him for the insurrection. So you guys see where I'm going here? 4 different jurisdictions, 4 different entities wanted to prosecute Trump. So New York was the first ones to do it. They did it with a bullshit charge. They did it with a weak case. But they did it. They charged him, and they actually went to trial and won. Okay? So Trump was convicted. Now, with that said, I lay the ground there for you guys because now, how the tables have fucking turned, man. So this leads us to our story with Letitia James faces legal peril over alleged fraud. Let's get into it.
Sandra, a lot to get into with this, and you've got the perfect guest. Yeah. We've got the perfect guest to talk about it with.
He's here, retired NYPD inspector and Fox News contributor Paul Morrow, who reported on this back in early February. We'll get your thoughts on the speeding bride in moments. First, this is an incredible story. Oh, the irony.
Yeah, what a turnaround. So
the irony, it doesn't even do it justice. Fucking incredible, bro. Holy.
Sam Mantar, as Eric mentioned, was arrested for a financial fraud himself about 40-something years ago, the infamous Crazy Eddie case that he was part of the architecture of. But that said, he subsequently, after pleading and testifying on behalf of the government, went to work for the government, helping them make white-collar cases. So he knows what he's talking about. He brings this thing to me on my Ops Desk blog, and he lays it out, and he's got documents, and it was very compelling. It's very hard to argue that, to me at least, to my eyes, the evidence that he's uncovered here really looks like there's a pattern of obfuscation, stuff that she has signed and notarized that does not seem to be accurate. And so the story's been bubbling up, and then when Laura Ingraham breaks it nationally, it gets attention. And as you mentioned, it's been referred to DOJ for a criminal referral, and that is no joke. That is the top of the prosecutorial food chain.
Yep, so the part, obviously, it's going to the feds, basically.
You're going to have to answer this out.
And you were on this very early as well with your Substack. We can pull up call for number 1 right here. You had the headline, Sunday report, a Tish James scandal. Is the New York Attorney General guilty of exactly what she sued Donald Trump for? You then go into the details of...
Fucking wild, bro. Now, obviously, it's different, right? Trump was to kind of pay for a cover-up, right, and use business funds to do it. Her is real estate fraud, which I'm going to talk about that here in a second with you guys. It's actually a big reason why I tell you guys to do the things that I tell you guys when it comes to real estate. Let me.
what she's potentially accused of now. So what's it like for you to now see that there are potential criminal charges being referred to DOJ when you had this a couple months ago?
Yeah, I mean, it's gratifying that it's getting attention, and we have to be careful. Look, she's a public figure, I get that, but she gets her chance to answer this out. There hasn't even been a complaint or an indictment, so, you know, she might have answers. But as I said, it's really, really compelling, and I have to give credit to Sam Antar because he just kept digging away on this. People have thrown all kinds of shade at him here. Oh, you're working for the Trump administration. All of that's completely not true. He hasn't worked for the government in a long, long time. But there were two really salient aspects of this that if you have any kind of an investigatory mind, you have to say to yourself, there looks like there's some real smoke here. She's claimed these Virginia houses, at least one of them, as her primary residence when she's the Attorney General. In fact, some of that paperwork was filed when she was about to bring the case against Donald Trump. So that took real chutzpah. So the other thing, though, and I think this is real trouble, is that her Brooklyn residence. She has a residence in Brooklyn that she has repeatedly claimed over the course of the ownership that it's only 4 residences. Why? 5 or above is commercial, and that's going to be a higher rate. And so she's...
So, and I also have the criminal referral right here for you guys as well, which we'll go ahead and take a look at this. Okay. We will go ahead and take a look at this as well. Let's watch the stories, then we're going to go through it.
Always claimed she's the Attorney General. In fact, some of that paperwork was filed when she was about to bring the case against Donald Trump. So that took real chutzpah.
That's crazy. She... Damn, imagine going after Trump for falsifying business records while you're committing mortgage fraud, bro. Oh, man. The pot calling the kettle black, quite literally, in this case.
So the other thing, though, and I think this is real trouble, is that her Brooklyn residence. She has a residence in Brooklyn that she has repeatedly claimed over the course of the ownership that it's only 4 residences. Why? 5 or above is commercial, and that's going to be a higher rate. And so she's always claimed through a series of paperwork filings that it's only 4 residences.
Wow.
But the New York City certificate of occupancy, which is the determining factor, says that it's 5. And you got to say to yourself something.
Oh, Lord, bro.